And speaking of fun, we've got a jam-packed episode lined up for you today. From community events and activities to heartwarming stories and maybe even a few surprises along the way.
And of course, we'll be keeping you up to date with all the important news and announcements from right here at Freedom Village.
So, grab your cup of joe, settle in, and get ready to start your week the Freedom Village way.
Stick around, folks. The Monday morning show starts right now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am doing so good.
It is Monday. It's the last Monday of September.
It sure is.
That is wild. I can't believe it. Did you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend.
A great weekend?
I did.
What did you do?
Well, it was really nice. I spent most of my time relaxing.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
I got a little fall shopping in.
Nice.
Because can you believe it? October is tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. That's crazy. I can't believe it. I feel like we just started September and now we blinked and it's over. And here we are, ready for October.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find anything fun during your fall shopping time?
Well, of course.
Of course. Anything pumpkin spice flavored?
I got a pumpkin spice candle.
Oh, nice.
I got some cozy sweaters. Because what's fall?
If not a cozy sweater.
Exactly. How about you? What did you get up to this weekend?
What did I get up to this weekend? Let's see. Well, I was a little more adventurous.
Ooh, you always are.
I took a quick day trip to the orchard with some friends, picked some apples, had a cider, and just embraced all the fall vibes. It was great.
That sounds perfect.
It was pretty perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
I love this time of year.
Me too.
It's like everything starts to slow down just enough that you can enjoy the little things.
Mm-hmm. I know. October is all about pumpkins, cozy sweaters, and spooky season.
Ooh!
But let's not forget the best part, cooler weather and some really fun events right here at Freedom Village.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. And speaking of which, let's take a look at what's happening this week. There's so much going on, and it's the perfect way to step into October.
Step into October. Starting with Tuesday, October 1st, if you are looking for a little getaway, the Camp Newaygo bus trip is happening at 8:30 a.m. We're leaving early.
That's early.
We'll head up north to enjoy a day full of fun, starting with a stop at Whispering Pines Market, a nice Amish market I've never been to.
Oh, I've never been.
And the Arts Place in Fremont. Plus, you'll have a choice of a guided wetland walk or a pontoon ride at Camp Newaygo.
Nice.
And to top it all off, we'll have a wine tasting on the way home. Now that is my kind of day.
I'm going to have to agree with you there. And at just $45 for the whole experience, it's a pretty sweet deal.
It is.
But don't worry if you're staying back, because also on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. we are going over to the Holland Area Arts Council Senior Studio Days. They're offering a fall craft session, and you'll be making pumpkin-shaped cutting boards.
Oh, how fun.
Yes, they're the perfect fall accent for your home. No experience is needed, so even if you're not super crafty, it'll be a fun thing to get out and do. It's free as long as you're over 50.
Yeah.
Just make sure to sign up in community apps as soon as possible.
On Thursday, October 3rd, we've got a couple of things going on. Whew.
Busy day.
Get ready. First, at 1:30 p.m., we're heading to the movie theater to watch the film Reagan. This film takes a deep dive into the life of the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan. From his early days as a Hollywood actor to his rise in politics and eventual presidency, it covers his journey, challenges, and legacy. For anyone interested in history and politics, it's a must-see.
Sounds like a good one.
And tickets are only $6 to go along, which is pretty great.
It sounds like a great movie, a great deal. And for anyone who wants a slower pace, don't forget that Tai Chi with Chris Campbell is at 3 o'clock in the gym. It's a peaceful and meditative way to recharge your body and your mind. Then, in the evening at 7:15 p.m., we have a special Thursday night program with Kyle Schippa, who will be presenting a travelogue. It's always fun to travel the world without leaving your seat.
Definitely. And finally, on Friday, October 4 at 10 o'clock, there is a special historical presentation at Dykstra Funeral Home. Director Dan Vriedeveld will share the history of funeral services in Holland, dating all the way back to 1865.
Wow.
I know. It's going to be an interesting look at how 5 generations have carried on the legacy of John Dykstra and how the funeral home has evolved over time.
So that's the week ahead here at Freedom Village, but now it's time for another edition of our favorite segment.
Are we picking favorites?
Well, no.
One of our favorite segments.
They're all our favorites, but the ladies of the Village View are back today, and today they will be discussing a topic that's been making waves in the news lately. Should there be an age limit on government positions of power?
This has been quite a big conversation lately, especially as we look at some of our current leaders and potential leaders. For example, President Joe Biden, who's 81 years old, former President Donald Trump is 78, and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who's 82, are all still serving. And then you have former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who's 84. Some people think their experience is invaluable, while others feel there should be an upper age limit for these positions, similar to term limits.
Right. And it's not just in the U.S. Other countries have their own age-related concerns in leadership, too. It's an interesting debate, and I know the ladies have some strong opinions on it. Let's go ahead and cut to them now.
No, I don't think there should be a limitation, because I think the voter has the right to make that choice, and the voter has the right to evaluate it. I was going to look up before I came, when was Kennedy elected president? Was he 39? But wasn't he 39? Wasn't he thought to be?
He was one of the younger presidents.
He may have been the youngest, and there was a lot.
46.
46? And there was a lot of talk that he wasn't ready. He wasn't experienced enough to be the president of the United States. And to me, that's hogwash. Obviously, you could be ready. Some people are brilliant at 70 or 80. Some are not. So you can't superimpose restrictions like that generally. They're too individual. Now, getting younger people, pardon?
We impose age of the presidency. You have to be 35 years of age to even run for the presidency. So that's an age something.
But what about the other end, which we're going?
Well, the other end is
the other end.
Been to the forefront in the last 8 years because of the age of our current president.
Right. And that again, I think, depends on the physical and well-being of that person.
Right.
I mean, are they capable? Are they not? Some 95-year-olds are very sharp and others are not.
Yeah, but this whole past 6 weeks to me has been very ugly.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, it was not good. I don't think our current president was ready to leave. I think he was wanting to be president for another 4 years. I think his age tripping and his stilted walk and stuff like that told people he was too old. But what about a handicapped person? What about somebody who was born without all their limbs? They're not incapable of being the president.
Right, right.
So, who makes that decision? The voters, you think. But I think if you got AI feeding them all kinds of other stuff, how can you depend on that?
Well, my thing, when I read the question, my point too was, how do you encourage younger people to run? How do you encourage the people like the age of Kennedy to run? What about all the 40, 50-year-olds going into being, not making them older people? How do we get young people involved in the interest in taking a part in running their country? or their neighborhood or their city or their state.
Well, what about the military? Did you read that, see that on the other day? 70, I'll probably get the percent wrong, but so many of the military age people that are eligible don't qualify to even come into the military and serve their country.
Explain that to me.
Education, fitness,
Physical.
Well, fitness.
Physical.
a couple of the big components. How you can't say all 20-year-olds. I think we might have to go to the draft eventually because I think it's gotten out of hand. I think we depend on our military a lot more, and it will continue to be more. I think maybe the draft is going to have to come back in order to get qualified people to go into the service.
If we're talking about having younger people in government, what we have to do is encourage right here in your hometown, get the young people to run for, be interested in their government, because you have to have that background of working with people, the law, and everything.
Don't we
You
have
can't
enough courses in our grade schools and stuff?
Oh, I think we don't, especially in certain cities, you have this rift. Oh, I'm not going there because, you know.
I just think that you've just got to have young people who want to have their voice heard. And I don't think, other than maybe in protests or group things, you don't necessarily see that. You don't saying someone is standing up to say, I want to do this, that are younger people.
They do it in groups. Yeah,
Yeah,
they do it in
and
groups.
so you want to be able to be of service or to help. You know, it starts by being a volunteer in any number of ways.
And you want, like, run for your school board, run for your county government or your city government. Then you get into that governmental line.
But nowadays, as soon as you say you want to run for something, they start digging into your background, your family, what you ever did wrong in grade school, high school, or college. I mean, you know, they really do a deep dive on everybody, and it's real hard for somebody to make that commitment, especially if they're married and they have a family and they have children, to put everybody in the spotlight like that. I also think they ought to be educated more in the lower grades.
I think putting government in the curriculum in lower grades is imperative. I think that would be a very big thing. We used to have a lot of government in our class when I went to school.
We did too. I mean, you live in a free country. Do you understand what that means and what are the advantages? And what can't you do in a free country? You can do anything you want to unless it impinges on your fellow countrymen. People don't understand that. They can break fences down, they can do this and they can do that to make their point. Pretty soon you got a battle royal. So there, you know, what is the happy medium on this stuff? How do you educate our youngsters?
Well, you just hit a very big point again that you opened up, which is it starts with education. It teaches you first of all, it's your responsibility to vote. And that's even what young people are not doing. So you've even got to go back to that much of a basic. You have a voice, and what you want to do is make sure you're seeing in your government or your representatives what you feel is appropriate.
Well, and now they're saying, well, I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to vote. Well, then you have no right to complain, and you have no right to protest.
Yeah, but they're also giving us a candidate we don't want.
Well, that has to go way back.
I do remember in grade school learning one candidate is better than the other. Check the better. There's always one better than the other. So you have to make your choice. And then if you would have enough people involved who would be unhappy with that, the thing would be we've got to get another newer, younger candidate in.
Well, there was a lot of political talk when I was younger. I remember songs when Truman, I mean, I don't know what president he was, but that's a long time ago. Sure, all that stuff was going on, but I think that base, you have to have a foundation for people to be able to distinguish, the same as with AI. You have to have a base of knowledge that you end up with later on in your life to be able to make decisions like that.
And you've got to learn the responsibility and the importance of making your voice heard.
Exactly. And how important it is in a free country that you get to have your voice, and others, give up their life to get the privileges that the United States offers. So people need to appreciate it more.
And they have to realize, no matter what your age is, if you're running for an office, that you are not just running for yourself. It's for the good of the people, and the good of your country or your city or your school, if you're running for a school board, that you have to take that ego out of it.
There are a lot of people that do that. You see spots on television where somebody was going to run for school board, and of course the naysayers came out in groves and witch hunts and all of this, and she's not, and she said, I just kept pushing ahead. But those are few and far between. Usually it's the people that squeak the most, complain the most, that get the job, and then that's what we listen to. We're not being progressive. We're undermining everything.
So you're going back again to understanding the importance and educating the importance of participating in a voice in your government.
Right.
And by the sounds of the military, maybe we need to get some stuff, gym. We used to have gym and stuff like that in school. That you learned how to golf, you learned how to play tennis, you learned how to take care of your body, nutritional balances and stuff. That was also in the education when I was growing up.
Don't they have that anymore?
I don't know, but a lot of these people are coming out not qualified to serve in the military.
They are physically not.
Physically
and mentally.
I mean, it really is a sad note to the country when we're producing citizens that can't function in big areas. It's not good.
No. Which, then that opens up a whole other thing. That not only goes back to artificial intelligence, that goes back to sitting in front of the TV and doing nothing.
Exactly.
We used to be out playing kick the can.
And that goes back to digital iPhones and everything. Kids are on their Game Boys and their, years ago we had just one little thing you could attach to the TV, but now it's taken over bars, restaurants, everything. You go in there, you can watch TV, you can place bets. There's a lot of sitting. A lot of sitting, which I do myself. But
it's nice to go to the bar though and watch a basketball game or a football game or a tennis match or
with
something.
people
That's
of
great.
like interest. Oh, I agree.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think that it is necessary that children are on that
Oh, I don't
thing
either.
all
I
the
don't
time.
either.
They
No,
can't
that was
go
proven
anywhere.
the other day. It said under 7 there should be a limited screen time. But it's not going to happen.
Well, yeah.
Well,
People don't want the government involved, but they almost force the government to have to make laws because nobody can do it on their own. Nobody thinks of it first.
Well, yeah.
I'm just thinking of like smoking. When I was younger, that was the thing to do. When you got out of high school, you started, my mom and dad smoked. That was in the 60s. I graduated in the 60s. I put my pack of cigarettes on the counter right along with my mom and dad's pack of cigarettes. Now, there was no information out there to say it was harmful for you. So you, instead of making that decision yourself, do I want to start this? Do I want to? You go along with the flow, and that's probably the case.
Well, that's probably the case with phones and everything else.
Exactly.
Too. Except that's, you have to understand the advantages and disadvantages, and as you have a family or a household, you have to have rules and regulations that, do not promote that. So it's hard to do that. But when we get back to how do you get the young people interested in participating in their community, I mean, it starts at a very early age.
Well,
and maybe it even goes back to where it started with Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, that you were participating and helping and doing things.
all of those, yeah. Brownies, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts.
There is not the education to young people to participate, and the only people then who are interested in it are older people, because nobody is encouraging young people to go out and do that.
But I think with the education, you realize the responsibility.
Yes.
And I think right now, younger people don't want to take that responsibility. They want you to do it, or they want their neighbor to do it, and to do it the way they want it, but they don't want to take the time to do it, or to understand what the need is. You know.
I don't know if they make a conscious decision about it, but I think the education in the low grades and all the way up ought to be mandatory in schools.
Oh, I think government classes.
People don't know how our government works. They don't know what our 3 executive, judicial branches are. They don't know how they function. That knowledge is powerful. If you give them the knowledge and give them the ability and the thought that you believe they can make a change, that's going to come from family and from teachers all the way up. Yeah. They can't just automatically decide at 22, well, I think I want to.
No. But don't you think they see some of this in high school or when they're voting for president of the class, vice president of the class?
I agree.
It's the beginning. It's the first steps in participating and doing those things.
Yeah.
And in a lot of high schools, government class is your senior year, or but you can teach that at a lower age, and you can get it in.
Well, it's like religion. Why do you send your child to a Christian school? Because you want that foundation. You want Christianity taught all the way through, all the way up. So, that's your choice as a parent, but you can make those decisions. So, you can choose where you want your child to go, and that's why you do it, because you want that foundation. And people give up a lot of stuff, even money-wise, to send their children to more of a Christian or Catholic educated background. So years ago that wasn't true, but I think it is now.
Yeah, well, hopefully you just want to see younger people come in and take over.
New ideas.
New ideas, fresh ideas.
Fresh ideas.
Yeah.
You don't. When you change doctors, you don't go to an old doctor.
That is a very good analogy.
You go to a young doctor.
Yes. And you know why? He's got the newest information also. He's
fresh. Everything he has is new to him, and he's excited about his position. Right. When we moved here, our doctor was in his 40s. Well, we aren't going to outlive him. He's going to be there for us to the end. Was my thought on it. But yeah, you pick somebody who's right out of school, fresh, and excited about their life choices.
Bringing fresh ideas.
It's the young people that have
understanding
and the ideas to make a change.
And I think a lot of this has to happen on your local government.
Oh, yes.
Schools, local government, education of what it goes through. And it is an education, the process.
It is
it's an internship.
Yeah.
Most of your life is an internship. It is for any job that you complete. I mean, you work towards it, you study for it, and then you have to have practical experience before you ever get, what's the word, rooted or whatever you're going to do, or be in somebody that you can ask a question to. You're not going to get it out of a 20-year-old, but they can be guided and led and get some new innovations.
And they can start, as Margaret says, on lower levels, whether you're working on local communities to, study the school board, or whether you're working on, the state government, or you're working on the library, you get started involving in the community.
Well, it's like the Pulitzer. A lot of people work towards that. One person in that field gets the Pulitzer, and that's their goal. That's what they're working for. That's what we need in the young people. They need to be focused on what we need to have them do in the country. You can't just go out and vote willy-nilly just because, I like this last name, or I like this nationality, or, I'm not going to vote for this guy because he came from overseas type of thing. I mean, there has to be more of a feeling of character of the person.
Right.
There has to be more to just happening to like how they wear their hair. Come on, we got to dig a little bit deeper. We're putting these people up. And then the voters are putting them in office.
Mhm.
So, you know, they've got all these, what's that next thing we're going to do, influencers? They've all got influencers. We see
Right.
it every day.
Yep.
Every communication on TV, there's an influencer working there.
Is that called advertiser?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, for that thoughtful discussion. It's such an important topic, and you gave us a lot to think about.
Absolutely. And thanks to all of you for tuning in today. We always appreciate having you with us, and we hope you enjoyed the show.
That we do.
We do.
We do. We'll be back next week with more news, events, and great conversations.
Of course.
Until then, that's Ashley.
That's Noah.
And this has been Monday Morning. We'll see you next week.
Bye.